here in America, gun sales tend to go up after mass shootings. I mean, why would that be? Why would gun sales go up after a mass shooting? I mean, someone comes in and shoots a bunch of unarmed people who can't defend themselves. Why would anyone out there want to go get a gun? I can't put that one together. I can't imagine why someone would want a gun because they're scared of someone else with a gun coming after them. But that's obviously a terrible thing. There's nobody even has to, that's just obviously bad, and banning guns is obviously good. And we still can't get them to ban guns. This is crazy. Now, of course, she can, and there's so much to that little clip there, and she can say, well, you know, there's going to be nearly 40,000 gun deaths in America. This is going to be like a high, you know, except 2/3 of them are suicides, right? So right away, the number is drastically influenced by the fact that 2/3 of ballpark.
Right.
So the vast majority of the gun deaths in America,
Just
if they
people
call them
want
that
to check
way,
out early.
people who want to check out early. Now, you could argue is that they go, if someone has a suicidal impulse and there's a gun around, they're more likely to do it. Whereas if they don't have the gun, maybe they'd fail, or it wouldn't be as permanent of a situation. Now, theoretically, just in the logic of it, I was somewhat open to that argument until I started looking into the data, and it doesn't bear it out at all. It doesn't bear it out. In fact, we have had suicide numbers rising in America in certain demographics, particularly young people. But what's driving that isn't gun ownership.
Do you have more suicides by other means in other countries?
Yes.
Yeah, so
yes.
That's your...
And you have countries that have basically no guns that have way higher suicide rates than America does. Like way higher suicide rates. There are these countries like in South Korea, in Japan, there's countries like Holland, like all these different areas where they have higher suicide rates than us, and they don't have nearly the rate of gun ownership that we do. We have a tough time stopping people from committing suicide in maximum security prisons. Like, no matter what you do to somebody, if they're determined to kill themselves, it's very, very difficult to stop them from doing that. And guns really aren't the issue. And the other thing is that even when I did buy into the logic of that, the idea that there should be laws against somebody who wants to own a gun because they want to protect themselves, that they shouldn't be allowed to do that because somebody else wants to hurt themselves. I never bought into that. Like, I'm sorry. I'm not concerned. This is what they'll have those numbers where they're like, you know, if you have a gun in the house, you're more likely to hurt yourself than you are to hurt an intruder. But they use the suicide numbers to get those numbers. So it's like, no, you're not more likely to hurt yourself if you're not trying to. Is so they complete, you know, just like all these like numbers that left-wing people throw at you, when you actually look into it, you're like, this is such bullshit. Because if I get a gun in my house, I'm not worried that I might kill myself with the gun. Like, I'm not worried I might get really depressed and kill myself. That's not my concern. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, anyway, they make it seem like the gun, you know, you accidentally shoot yourself or something like that, which that is actually incredibly rare. Or, you know, your kid gets into your gun. That's incredibly rare. And you can solve that by not being insanely negligent. Like, just by not being insanely negligent, you can solve that problem. And believe me, you know, there's a lot of different things in your household that your kid could get into and fucking hurt themselves. I'm not like, oh, I'm not going to keep bleach or soap in my house anymore. I'm not going to keep knives because my kid could. It's just like, no, I'll put them in an area where my kid can't get them. Problem solved. And keep an eye on my kid. Anyway, so